right. Well, don't know that anybody is home watching, but just for posterity, Bill's here, Lynn's here, Chuck, Stephen, Bob, Tom, Susan, Frank, Larry, and Helen. So we've got a good crowd. This is new. The screen is different than it usually is. Any announcements?
Is there anybody out there that uses Affinity? They've been bought out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they've been bought out by a company called Canva, which is an Australian company. And the Affinity is based out of Nottingham, England. So they're two like companies. And theoretically, as the press release says, there's gonna be no changes. For now. You know, they're not looking, because the other company that bought it is not a subscription company. You know, like say Photoshop is, you buy it, it's good for a while until they make a major update, a little bit like Photoshop Elements. You know, you can buy it at a different stage, you know, the upgrade. But just when I was getting ready to jump into Affinity.
Well, it happened a couple months ago. Nothing terrible has happened yet.
Now, I've heard that until the end of this year, we'll keep getting free updates, but that after that, we wouldn't. So I don't know where I saw that, but, and I don't know. I'm, the latest is 2.5, and whether we'll get another one, I don't know. We'll just have to see.
Well, Topaz has made a change too.
Yeah.
Now it is photo AI, and they're, except for maybe gigapixel, you can't buy individual programs anymore. And then double check me on it, but I'm glad that I have at least sharpening as a part of what I can get to. But anyway, anything else? Where did this come from? Is that you, Bill?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think that with what AI is doing right now, and it's changing so rapidly, that, you know, if you're going to buy or get a program, having one that does free updates, leasing right now, I think is maybe a better idea than buying, because unless they're specifically going to, you know, give you free updates, things are gonna go out of date so quickly that you can end up kind of stuck in places that you don't wanna be.
Yeah, and with Topaz products, you're paying by the year for the upgrades, so it's, yeah. But it's almost like, for me, it's a little bit like Photoshop Elements. Yeah, I bought it. I'll probably have it for 3 or 4 years before I go to the next level, unless there's some really, really big changes. And you can do the same thing with the Topaz products. They will keep operating, but only at where your subscription ends.
Right.
So.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna just do you know, we often talk about sharpening, speaking of Topaz and other things, we often talk about sharpening and denoise. I don't think we've ever really talked about upscaling as an independent part of it. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just show you one thing that, like in Topaz, where if you may have an image that it only chooses to increase the size of it. And that's usually when you might have downloaded some small file, or you may have cropped it, you know, the crap out of an image where you may want to kind of increase the resolution, increase the pixels a little bit to make it a little better. So, okay, come on. So I just got one image that I'm going to show. It'll go real fast. And this was gonna be potential clocks image. This was something that Frank put out on Facebook. And you can see, this is already run already. And you can see,
It has been upscaled?
yep,
Okay.
you know. Come on.
Oh, I see.
I'm just curious, Bill, what was the size of the thing that was posted?
I think it was 300,000,
Okay,
and I think it quadrupled it.
yeah, okay,
And as you can see, going through it, how much, just the upscaling.
yeah.
Because behind, let's see, that's right, this is.
You could really see it on the edges of the coat going up above the hand.
Yeah, I can't, it's not move. a minute. Oh. Yeah, so, yeah, all the edges you can see, and behind that drop down that I can't get rid of, it'll just show that the only thing it did was upscale. It said there was no denoise to happen, no sharpening that required happening. So it made a decision that if I upscale this thing, that's all you have to do.
So what is, so you're saying, you're using the term upscale, I'm not familiar with, because you're talking about sharpening, denoising, but this is something else, so what
This is what
upscale?
the individual Topaz products was called.
Gigapixel.
And I think Tom talked about an online free one for.
Ah,
Hmm?
X that. One a day.
One a day,
Right.
okay.
One free one per day.
That's not too bad.
And all that does, it takes a very thin, what I'll call a thin image, a low resolution image, and it will go through there and analyze it and add to it. And then like what you can see up there is the kind of changes on the edges that I think,
They'll go clear over to the pendulum and split the shadow if you can.
what do I,
There you go.
So why is that not called sharp, what's the difference between sharpening and this? I mean, it seems like there is some difference.
well, it's because it's enlarging the file, it's filling in the little gaps.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's my scientific,
It's enormously helpful when you're doing things like I shoot a lot of tiny birds, and so you end up cropping the hell out of things. And if you want to then, make that a bigger thing, it gets blurry very quickly, and if you go back and it's simply increasing the resolution of the thing. How it does that, I don't know, but the visual effect is stunningly better.
I think it goes through and finds every pixel and then quadruples it
Yeah,
or doubles it.
yeah,
And so you wind up with twice as many.
the number of pixel count jumps up.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So if you're trying, file things, you get this problem, particularly if you do that on a bigger picture. But,
you can even see on the stock of the gun how much clearer the one on the right is than the left.
Right.
And that's just, because sometimes I think, and I could be wrong, that when they do the denoise and sharpening, I think there's a lot more going on. I think upscaling is, like we were saying, just an adding of the size or the number inside each pixel that kind of brings it all together. When it comes to sharpening, it may be doing other things that sometimes I see artifacts.
yeah.
You know, if you go too far or you go
Yeah.
not far enough, or if you use the wrong model. But the upscaling just made everything come together. In this case, probably not gonna
I
happen.
was
again.
trying to sharpen something, one of my pictures, and it ended up, it seemed like it just didn't put more noise in. You know, it didn't really sharpen it, and I didn't know exactly what was going on, so I didn't sharpen it.
I have, the one that I have tried is called upscale.com, and as I said, you can get one free thing per day. And,
That's probably more than I need.
and there's a limit on the number, it won't do anything if there are more than 1,500 pixels on any side. Is that clear? Okay, if there are more than 1,500 pixels, forget it, it doesn't do it, it doesn't accept it.
Yeah, it's really requiring
Right.
a really thin
Right.
file.
And I'm, you know, less than a megabyte.
And just another quick comment, but Susan, I don't know what program you were using, and I don't know about Affinity or anything else, but with topaz sharpening, you can select an area to be in better focus and not mess with the rest of it. So especially if you're doing, Timothy can weigh in on this. If you're doing portraits and you had too long of, just went blank. You had too much depth of field. You can compensate by just sharpening the person's face or a part of the face. So anyway,
So this file here went from 363 kilobytes, which is really small. And after it did 4 times, it ends up being 2.72 megabytes.
So you did it more than once?
No.
Oh, okay. Oh, you was just saying it went 4 times?
Mhm.
yeah.
Now, I could go in there and I could tell it to do 6. But it's saying, based on what it knows, I'm gonna upscale this by 4 times.
Very well.
All right.
Can't you sharpen too much, for example, if you,
Oh, gosh, yeah.
and it looks weird.
Well, one thing I learned on the last trip I had out to the Outer Banks, I'm somewhat of a technical kind of, I like sharp stuff. And what I found out is that, yeah, everything that I do, I want it to be sharp. I want things to be sharp. And I go looking around this house that we rented, all the pictures in the bathrooms and the other rooms, all had they weren't sharp. So people are buying the stuff that I'm deleting when I come home. So I have to start thinking a little differently and out of the box that, it's not all about sharpness. So much is about content, about composition, lighting, all those kind of things. And it was kind of awakening.
I'd like to mention that those of us who have Apples, the Apple comes with a laptop, I have at least, MacBook comes with a post, program.
Editor.
Is it part of
Photos.
photos, like the editing
Photo,
of
you
photos?
Yeah, when you go to edit and you go photos, and then
Yeah.
you can go down and hit sharp and denoise, and it'll automatically do it if you hit it, and I don't know. And I see a little change, but I wouldn't wanna do a lot of that.
I found, sometimes I use that editor for a quick fix and, just fix lighting, like overall lighting of the
Right,
whole image, and yeah, and cropping sometimes, it's pretty good. I agree, yeah, I've never used it.
All right, folks, on to the photos. Now,
Appears to be mine. So this is down at the Pittsburgh.
hang on one second, Bob. Hang on 1 second. I got to share my screen or nobody else. This is the problem I had last time. Okay, hold forth.
Okay, so top of the Pittsburgh courthouse, it was a fairly easy place it was close and it was easy to photograph. It was F16, ISO 100, 1/160th of a second. And it was my first attempt at Fox.
What day were you down there, Bob?
It's been about a week ago,
Okay.
something like that.
What time was it?
It was,
11:30 a.m.
yeah,
Looking at the
I think it was at 11.
reflection on top of it.
So you're looking southward, So you're on the
Yeah, I was
North
on,
Hillsborough Street. And probably looks like you're on the side of the street as S&T Soda.
I was,
Yeah.
that's it, but there's not a lot of places to stand, I mean, that was,
Unless you like go like at nighttime or something, get out in the middle of the road real quick and.
could it, yeah, I could,
That's
could,
what I did that one night.
Yeah.
yeah, could have done that,
And the good news with this one too is that you have clouds.
yeah.
Nothing's worse than having a blue
Yeah.
sky.
Right, right.
Yes.
Yeah, I love the clouds, but I wonder if portrait rather than landscape might have,
Could have been, yeah, that's a good thought.
but the clouds are great. All right. Seconds also, Bob.
Okay, this is the UNC bell tower.
Oh, okay.
And I took it from, the clock is on, I believe it's all four sides of the building, as you can see, there's two of them there, and I just kept walking around till I could get the sun at my back. And try not to have it too bright. But that was again at F16, ISO 100.
Yeah, the exposure on this is great.
I kind of would like it straighter, but that's just,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, yeah,
it would be hard, you know,
Well, you can do that.
if you did straightening, it would.
could have done that, yeah, that's a good thought.
Well, it doesn't look that,
And if you're using elements, the drop down on, I think it's image, there's a rotate. And when you open it, you can tell it how much to rotate. Down to 1.5 degrees. And just keep adding a half till it gets,
What's gonna rotate?
I'm sorry?
What,
It-
you lost me on the rotate.
If you wanted to straighten that tower,
Right.
it would put, if you open this thing that Mike's talking about, it shows you I guess it's kind of like a round graph. And then you can fine tune just how that vertical column appears, like within a degree or two.
Oh, that's interesting.
And then you can also, there's also the one where you take the line down to the side and then it will it'll make
It'll
it
straighten.
straight.
Yeah.
That one's harder to do, but yeah, so I didn't realize that there was that, that's good to know.
Yeah, the rotate is just as simple can be.
Yeah, that's tricky, you have to,
And I use the skew.
I used to see it for other things, yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
The
Bob.
plane that's closest to us is straight.
I know.
All right, Bill's next.
Okay, this is, Frank and I went down to Pittsburgh one day, just kind of seeing if there's any businesses down there with clocks in it somewhere. And, we weren't, at least I walked away thinking that we weren't successful, but, yeah, sometimes when you go back and you start looking at an image that you took, there's some things that you can do with it. You can try to make it interesting. This was after they were closed. You can see Floyd the barber up at the top from the Mayberry. And this was just shot right through the window, through the blinds. So it was a much larger image. I did cut it down quite a bit. I was testing out my new lens at 28-400 and shot it at, let's see, 125 millimeters, 125th of a second, 25,600 ISO, and I didn't do any denoising on it.
Did you have a polarizer by any chance?
I just put it against the window and hope for the best.
Yeah.
You can see the blinds in the background, which is actually the reflection.
Oh,
Yeah, and they do have an accessory that you can put on the front of your lens that's almost like a big suction cup. And you can put it up against the window and it'll block all the light from around it.
Oh, okay.
And then you, because it's flexible, you can move a certain amount up and down.
So, I have just a personal, is there a reason for leaving all that blank space on the right?
Yeah, because everything else on the left
It's so busy.
was,
Counterbalance?
yeah, it was a really downtrodden barber shop. But I wanted to show enough of the downtrodden, and then just the fact that Floyd's up there, and even down on the left, you can imagine why they need Febreze. And you can even, let's see, this spray is cinnamon apple. So the guy is all proud that he has his Durham barbering certificate up there. And of course, because of the old look of it, that's why I decided to turn it to black and white. And I did no denoising, I just left it as is. Maybe I'm taking a little, my own, about the pictures out in the Outer Banks is, don't over sharpen, don't think it has to be perfect. Make it interesting.
But I just remember that there was so much glare coming off.
Oh, yeah.
It was, I really didn't get anything that I could use.
I did have to select the middle of the, where he keeps the pictures and everything here, the frame,
Yeah.
and I just toned that down a little bit, but that and cropping is the only thing, and changing it into the black and white. But,
This next one's Bill's 2. Come on.
again, this was down in Pittsburgh, just looking through windows, trying to find something.
Which place was this?
I don't even know. But what I found interesting is the clock,
Yeah, you got 3 there?
1,
but this is.
2,
this
and a
is mirror.
reflection.
Oh.
You can,
Oh, it's reflecting.
yeah, you can see, when I took it, I didn't know.
Yeah.
And then I was wondering what this was back there, but it's just an ornament, it's not a clock at
It's
all.
not a clock.
Wow.
But again, because of whatever they're doing in here, they have all this stuff piled up, I didn't wanna do too much work on it. I just wanted to crop it a little bit, change it to black and white, and just kind of have it be that old time, who knows what they're doing in there.
That one in the center still looks like a clock to me.
Yeah.
So did you do anything on the bottom, or it just was like that? I really like the way it's sort of,
Like a vignette.
kind of,
When I cropped it so that it'd be like that.
but I mean, the bottom was sort of that faded.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, and again, this one was shot at probably 25,000 ISO, and I just left it that way.
So that bottom shadowing, lighting is not, it's not introduced later, post, that's not post, that's
No.
the way the lighting is.
I'm not smart enough to do that in post.
What is the thing all the way on the left? Do you have any idea?
It was some kind of table, and I only,
And that white, the gray thing? Yeah, that thing.
it looked like it was some type of table,
Yeah.
Oh.
but I only got part of it, so I
Okay.
cut,
There's something in front of it.
Tried to-
Okay.
I mean,
It's just an interesting selection of stuff.
It is.
and it kind of flows with the barber shop.
Yeah,
It's just kind of a disarray.
yeah.
Okay, now for a spelling lesson, maybe.
Yeah. What's funny with this one, I sent you this. I had done it in Photoshop Elements. I had gotten rid of all this stuff, all the little lines. I forgot to save it.
Oh, I've never done that.
But the reason why I use this for a challenge called the clock, this sign is somewhat of a clock. It tells you when they're open. Now,
We're open.
yep.
Yeah.
Now, the strange thing about it is the sign on the door says that it's closed at 6:30, and I took this at 8:30. So,
Somebody forgot that.
just for a little sense of humor, I thought that would,
What store was that?
Huh?
What store, what was it?
All right,
Yeah.
Tour Pittsburgh.
all right.
Yeah, looking
Frank?
through the windows, I mean, we were even down by Sullivan's,
Yeah,
where he has a clock behind the desk.
the desk in there,
And then when I went back there at night, he had this, table lamp on. And that was a pretty interesting one, but once you kind of got the light right, you could barely see the clock. But,
Well, we're glad you're here. All right, Frank's up.
So what is the toilet plunger device called besides the toilet plunger device? How would I look that up?
It's a soft lens hood. They have a bunch of them at, Southeastern Camera.
I'm sorry, dear.
It's a soft lens hood, and they have mushy kind of thing. They have a lot of them
I have
at
some.
Southeastern Camera. Used
Okay.
ones in a
Very
pile.
good, thank you.
Yeah, the neat thing about most of them is you can fold it back and it disappears in your bag, unlike some hoods.
lens cover?
Was hood.
Good, okay. All right, this was a clock I bought about 5 or 6 years ago. I was up in Boone, and it was, so we took it home, we hung it, and when I was trying to find a clock, I have a couple of them around the house, I saw this, and I just took this really early one morning, and I put the overhead lights on in the kitchen. The nice thing about this clock is there's no backing, so it's completely see-through. All you see is the numbers, so the backing took the color that was on the wall. And so I took this and I cropped it down to just about a circle and then some. And this was taken last week, and it was a 1/320th of a second at f3.5, 28 millimeter, and an ISO of 6400. And when I processed it, because it had the 64, I did take the noise down a little bit. And I also took the shadow down because I noticed when I did it, you got that shadow behind the numbers, it just made it more pronounced. So it's almost looked like block letters instead of just the regular ones that were on the clock. And I just increased the clarify and structure, and again, I just cropped it down to a square style.
Well, it's a great photo, Frank, but the frame adds a whole lot.
Yeah.
It's actually a double mat.
I kind of stumbled on that. I know you mentioned it a couple times, I couldn't find it, and then I noticed it, so I just went ahead and put it on there.
Yeah,
That's nice,
Yeah.
kind of makes the picture.
yeah, it really does make
Oh,
it.
it definitely did. When I added it, it definitely stood out more.
Makes it pop.
Well, if you use big enough paper sometimes and you do this, you don't have to put a mat on it at all. So, good shot.
Yeah.
And this is,
I was down at this was taken the day we were down in Pittsburgh, and I don't think it was too far after you were here, Bob, so I got kind of the same image, and it had the blue sky with the clouds. But then I was looking at it and I said, well, I'm gonna play around with it. The first thing I did was I converted it to black and white, and then I took out the background, the blue sky, and I have a whole file of all different skies and clouds, and I put that in its place to give it more of a dark look to it.
Yeah, it's more,
Yeah.
having never done this myself, that's cheating, Frank. Which you should hear, I've done that.
Yeah, well, in Photoshop, they have one quick, they've introduced a lot of AI in there, but they have one quick function to remove background. So it just automatically locks in on the subject. I didn't think it did as great a job around some of the edging, but it was good enough for what I wanted. And this was taken with 500th of a second at 5.6. And this was 161 millimeter and ISO 100.
I'm a symmetric freak, and I love the symmetry of the shadows, or the louvers, whatever they are,
What I
shutters.
did was I had the original picture and I opened it up in Photoshop, and it was in black and white with the old sky. And then I opened up one of the pictures from my file that I wanted to use for the background. So I removed the background on this one, and then I just opened up that other picture and put it into this. And it just put that in where the outside, I selected the inverse and it put it in on the inverse.
You can never believe a photograph is real.
Yeah,
Great shot,
it was
Frank.
a lot of fun.
Yeah, great shot.
Good shot.
The rubber lens hood, I found one on Amazon that it says it fits everything from 49 millimeter lens to an 82 millimeter, like $24.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's probably less cost too.
All right, Lynn is up next.
I apologize, I cannot tell you any of that data at all, but this was in
Amazon just
Montana.
lens hood, then filled it in.
Where is it?
Montana. It took it last summer, I cheated, I have one current one, but I just thought it was pretty, so.
It's pretty.
I like the shape of the tower.
Mhm.
Where it curves in and then goes down, so.
The contrast of the red brick on the blue.
Yeah,
I like
really
that.
nice.
So those clouds are actually there in the sky.
I got more clouds tomorrow.
Yeah, anyway, I thought it was pretty,
Oh, it is,
Very nice.
so we lost our,
Leader,
our MC.
our MC's gone.
so I apologize, I don't have any of the excess data. I thought about it and then forgot. The other one, I took it home yesterday.
Would you think about taking out the street?
Like cropping it up.
If I knew how to do it well, yes. I've tried doing that, and I struggle with that. Mhm.
Using the select mode.
Or just use the crop mode.
I mean, I just-
Move it up.
Which one did you take out?
Of the, let's see, you were like that. I just did it. Like that.
Oh, you're talking about cropping it more?
Yeah.
Oh, to
Yeah.
remove some of the street?
Oh, I see, no, I meant just cropping that down.
Oh, okay, no, that's a good suggestion.
Oh, I see what you.
No, I thought you were talking about the sign on the corner.
Or make the road grass.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good
Since we're
suggestion.
replacing
Oh,
some.
that's a bigger replace that.
I think it would be better.
Put some ducks in there.
Creating our own, yeah.
Should 5 minutes or something.
Beautiful sky.
Which one? The new?
No, not I,
I see.
nor anybody in this room, I bet. Anyway, any other comments on this one?
So Tom suggested I should crop out some
Crop out
pavement,
street
which
of it.
is probably true.
Beautifully sharp.
Yeah, it's nice the way the clouds seem to go at an angle on each side to kind of point in and draw your eye to the tower.
Planning on my part now,
Good, you control those clouds.
just happened.
You patiently waited for those clouds to get there. That's cool.
Who's that?
This is Lynn's too.
So that's a pendulum on an old clock that I have, it's mercury in there.
Wow.
And I just wanted to take just the pendulum part. So I did use a tripod, I tried doing it handheld. I was using a macro lens that I'm not used to using. And I hope it's sharp, I would,
It is.
Using it with a macro lens is tough.
yeah,
Sharpness there.
I've just never used one before, so it's a total experiment. As I said, I did try it without a tripod and it just wasn't sharp enough, so I went back and did it again.
Is it hanging from something or is it sitting on something?
No, it's in a clock.
It's inside the clock.
Tell them how big.
The clock is, maybe this big.
Oh, so it's small.
So if you go up above that, there's the painted face of the clock. It's brass, in a brass case, and all the sides and the front are all glass. So,
Am I really stupid to ask, why there's mercury in
I
that?
was thinking the same thing, why mercury?
I don't, it's just the way these clocks are made.
It was
The weight.
swing, really.
The weight.
The idea, because you know how mercury is so heavy. Oh,
The weight.
Quicksilver.
yeah,
So this was probably built in the, I don't know, 100 years ago.
yeah.
Think of the poor people who were putting the mercury in that.
So can you see the mercury kind of sloshing around?
I've never stood and watched. I'll invite you over so you can.
I don't know, when we were kids, we would always have things of mercury.
I broke
Might even lick one, I don't know.
I broke a thermometer one time that had mercury.
Yeah.
Now they close the whole school.
Moving right along, Susan,
So, I was also walking around places I usually go, and this is at Weaver Street in Southern Village. And, I walked in and I tried to find a clock, and there was this clock, and so I said to the people there, I said, I need to take pictures of the clock, and this guy Daniel said, okay. So he said, I have a watch, so he took his watch off, and there he stood.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Oh, I didn't
And
see it.
the clock was the same time as the clock behind him.
Is that a time clock in the back?
What was that?
Is it a time clock in the back, or, is there like a,
It's for people,
the clock?
posting your times on a time card?
No, it's, well, the clock, you mean the clock on the wall?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it looks like there's some, usually a typical time clock, you may have a clock, and then there'd be a rack with cards in it, and you pull a card out, and, yeah.
No, it's just,
This is Weaver, come on.
this is,
They have a computer science, I'm sure.
but, anyway, this actually was a picture where I tried to sharpen it, and instead it introduced a lot of noise. But I just thought, and also the funny thing is, I'm sure we talked about experiences we have. This was the first picture I took. And then there were subsequent ones where he kind of tried to pose and stuff like that, but I really liked.
expression on his face is great.
And
Nice creative.
and also, he's sort of at the top of the frame, but anyway, yeah,
That's fine.
yeah. And I just kept in the stuff with the cheese and all that, so this is Weaver Street in Southern Village. So I kind of walked around there, went into the different stores trying to find clocks, so
That's great.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
He's
Good.
really also a really nice man.
Good street photography.
But the grayness of everything and then the gold of his shirt in the
Yeah.
center.
With the cheese.
Accentuates it. Yeah, and he matches the cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I was also walking around Pittsburgh, and I walked into the bank. And they, of course, had a clock on the wall, it was very boring. And I said to the tellers, I explained what I was doing, and I wasn't sure how they would feel about me coming in. And there was this really very nice man, I mean, this is the thing that's sort of fun about walking around taking pictures. You tell people what you're doing, and you end up talking to these people. So this was a guy in the bank, he was sitting in an office, and he kind of walked out, and I explained to him what I was doing, and he said, this is on the vault. He said, you might find this really interesting. He said, it's a clock of sorts, in that what they do at the bank is they set this when they leave the bank, so that, let's say somebody came to his house in the middle of the night and said, I wanna, break into the bank. So he could walk them into the bank, but this clock is set and it won't open until the morning. So, anyway, it is a clock of sorts, but I just.
So that's the vault.
This is the vault, this is the door of the vault.
And Susan, just hope that the bank's not broken into within the next 20.
You're gonna be crime sense then.
Yeah, what is that anyway?
Well, I don't
What,
know.
yeah, I thought you would have gotten that.
No, but there's this huge metal door, I didn't include a picture of that, but this is, so the door's open. But anyway,
This is a great shot, Susan.
That's good.
Great shot.
And you did a good job, because you don't have it right in the middle. It's
Yeah.
off center a little bit, it's very interesting.
Yeah.
Very, very unique shot.
Yep,
yeah,
love it.
Kudos for
thank you.
creativity.
Yeah, it was kind of fun walking into different places.
Tom is up.
Okay, so I took the sundial approach.
Yeah.
This happens in a building that we have, and there's a screen around it. And at certain times, this happens, and only a certain few days of the year. And I thought, well, that counts as sort of a sundial, an astronomical clock.
Kind of like Manhattan Hedge.
Yeah.
Looking up through the grates.
It's a great abstract picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like that.
And-
You should put that on Flickr.
Okay, thank you. I'll do that. It seems like maybe something's missing at the top there.
Well, I like the asymmetrical frame.
Yeah, but there's a part of it, I had that,
Is there a part that's not showing?
yeah, I mean, it just goes up, and there's a bit of the frame at the top.
Yeah.
Just a bit. I wonder why that doesn't, anyway, it's slightly incomplete, but I like the color.
Yeah.
There's a sort of a deep red to it. The screen is red cedar, so maybe that.
The texture, both in the shadow and in the background, is really cool.
The background is stucco.
Beautiful.
And this is another sundial approach, and this is an old photo, sorry, and this is from New Orleans, that's the Mississippi River up there.
Well, this looks like piano keys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The colors, the purple and the blue.
I tried fooling around with it, I thought, well, what's all this blank space, which it turned out, I like it.
Yeah.
But it was fun painting, I painted a freehand line off of each one of those, the wider protrusions along down the center, and then just had them be looping all around like they were wires coming up. Right, a little junky.
It's cool.
Really unique. Really nice.
Pleasant looking.
I don't, this is something that also for me is almost has to be. The bottom left corner is where that image starts. It's right in the corner, and I like that.
And another thing that I felt good about was that everything was terribly skewed, and I got everything straight through a perspective tool. And it was, I thought, oh, this is never gonna straighten out, but
It surely did.
it just kept pulling it and pushing it. And
So it had like some lens distortion?
first of all, I think it wasn't totally straight.
Okay, yeah.
But I just managed to pull all those corners. I don't know,
Yeah.
just playing around, pulling the corners, and eventually I thought, whoa, that actually worked.
Which software were you on?
Affinity.
What else?
Well, again, great shots, Tom.
Thanks.
Really.
Oh, this one's Tom's also, totally different idea.
Okay, so this one is, I moved off of clocks and into time. And I don't know, can you zoom in on the sign there?
Uh-huh.
Happy Days
Oh,
Retirement.
retirement, oh my goodness.
Invisible
This is
checkers.
Happy Days Retirement Facility, Invisible Checkers Tournament. First prize, the checkers, second prize, the checkers.
Very good.
Did you make the sign?
I put it in, there was a sign there, and I
Oh,
erased it and put that text.
Oh,
Yeah,
Did you make up the text for the sign?
yeah.
I don't know how you got the I don't know what it looks like it's not flat, that it's going away.
It looks like,
There was a sign there, so I just took what was there away and put the text in.
oh, so you did it, you created the scene, and then shot it, right? Like you didn't do that afterwards?
No, this is all for real, all I did is, I changed the perspective so that they weren't falling down the hill.
And that's exactly what I was saying, Tom, that makes it look absolutely realistic.
Yeah.
You see these signs that are fake, and they don't look fake because they're square when they shouldn't be, so.
And one of the words on the text there, the word tournament, was it turned out to come over Joe, that's Joe Kinlan, by the way,
Oh,
that's
I was
my man, Joe.
saying,
Joe Kinlan and Ken Stein, but the text went over his shirt, and I
So
thought,
did you have
okay,
them pose for this picture?
yeah. Yeah, we were having fun over there. This is out right in front of the co-op. Chatham Marketplace. Yeah, they did some kitty furniture
Well,
and
that's what's great about it.
just porcelain.
I would have had trouble standing up from there.
Yeah.
All
It
right,
was
Tom,
just fun. It was-
thank you. Chuck is up. Oh, wait a minute.
Well, that looks like Paris.
Yeah, that's the Musée d'Orsay.
Yeah.
wow.
It's a really, so it was, thanks. This was, one from the archive. I took this last summer, about a year ago. And it was, one of the first couple of days that we were in Paris. And this museum, but it's a train station, and you can tell that it's a train station, really. And, this was, I took a picture of the hall, from the one perspective, one place, which I think I used for something else, but anyway, and another, another theme. But I just, such an ornate clock, and I don't know a lot about the details of the clock, but I just like the lighting, and I did go into the very top of the arch. I went in there, selected some of those panels and brought the light down a bit. And I like the composition, but to Bill's point, it's technically not a great photograph because I cropped in so much, and so it was an ISO, and I don't know what I was doing. I think I was shooting JPEGs for one thing, and not RAW, and I think I maybe had it on aperture priority because the numbers are kind of weird. It's an ISO of 2000. But I never shoot, like stuff during the day, like on ISO 2000, and it's a 1/1600 of a second at an f3.5, and it's a wide angle. So, it would have been a sharper image if I had that aperture closed a little bit, and, but anyway, I just liked the.
I think you undersell this.
Yeah.
It's, there's just so much going on. You can look so many different places, and
Well, and then, yes, thank you, and I think, again, to Bill's point, I thought I could get away with the softness here. It's a little soft, but there's, like you said, there's some interesting things to look at.
yeah.
A lot of different
Great.
lines in there, and
Some curves,
everything, you got every food group in there.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Monument shapes down at the bottom, except
Yeah, with the older shapes, yeah. I like
Well,
that too.
The staircases on either side,
Yeah,
where do they go?
they go out.
Right, they go out of the building, so this is from one extreme end of the hall to the other, to the opposite. And there's there's a structure outside of the main building that's, I don't know how to describe it, kind of a oblong rectangular, and it just maybe houses the staircase to the street.
Well, great shot.
One thing that's really interesting.
Oh, I messed this up.
That museum was to be torn down. They had plans to tear it down.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that, yeah.
And it was so cool because, there was a big uproar And people didn't want the beautiful building torn down, they didn't need it as a train station anymore.
Yeah.
And so I guess they just, somebody with foresight.
Sorry,
decided
Stephen.
They wanted to build a museum in it, and that's what they did. So,
Well, this one, kind of, again, goes from clock to time, but the Earth is a clock, and this shows the Earth's rotation. And if you look closely, each of those stars, well, it's 70 exposures stacked. And 70 exposures of 30 seconds each. And in between each of those exposures, there was a 1 second delay. So that instead of it being a smooth line for the travel of showing the Earth's rotation, there's a tiny, there's like a series of points. So it's kind of a different effect. And then I also added, they call it in this software, StarStax software, which I think if it's not free, it's really inexpensive. Oh yeah, it has this comet effect. So the front or to the right side of each of those points, it's a little brighter than, it looks like it's trailing, I just like that effect. But it was, I set the ISO at 3200, which is a pretty common ISO for shooting at night sky. And I had fully wide open f2.8 on my super wide angle lens, which is an 11 to 16 millimeters. This is at 11 millimeter. And there's a lot of lens distortion, and I corrected it for that, but it's still, you can still see it. My band looks a little. This was just last week at a place called the New River Campground in near West Jefferson.
But having a van in the picture just makes it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a little capsule. It's like my little living capsule there.
Did you,
And, yeah.
did you light paint the green right in front of the camper?
I did not. That was somebody's light from their trailer or their camper. This is a great campground, and they don't have a lot of lights around. They're really light, and the sky's pretty dark up that way. Better than around Asheville and even Brevard. There's a lot of light pollution there, but so it's a good place. And this campground is kind of open, and the trees are, it's kind of new, and so the trees haven't grown up yet, but I did take out this time we took my other vehicle with us, because Jen was doing something, and so it was inconvenient to take the van in and out. But anyway, that you can see in front, and there was somebody else's vehicle in that light. I took that out, using the, not the clothes stamp, the other one. The blemish remover. I just copied the background, put it in there.
You said this was 70 photographs?
Yeah, I said, thanks a lot. My little laptop didn't like what I was asking.
But actually, so how did you do 70, and did you just?
Okay, so I use, I set it up with a tripod, and kind of, do a few test shots and see, okay, yeah, I like this lighting is pretty good, the composition looks pretty good. And then I used one of those, I used an intervalometer, but yes, and I had the intervalometer program. So you can tell it how many shots you want, how long. Well, the camera, you can do it on the camera and the intervalometer, but it doesn't matter. In fact, my camera even has that same capability. But then you just let it run. And so I went back inside and took a little nap, and then came back out.
Chuck, there's another picture in this that I've outlined.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah, that'd be cool.
I think so. It's a neat shot.
Really.
All right, thank you.
And that's facing south, so the polar north is even more interesting because you have a point in the center, and I like that. But this was that didn't work for where I was parked and all that stuff. So I figured, well, I'll try it to the south. And, that's what I did.
All right, next is Stephen. Sorry I previewed Stephen.
Yeah, hello. what we've got is a series of 3 pictures. And this is out of the camera, raw, and the others are kind of tweaking it a little bit. And I thought, since we're kind of learning from each other, what are we doing to our pictures, that maybe that would be interesting for people.
And here's version 1.
So this is over at UNC, obviously, it's Moorhead Planetarium. I read that that's the biggest sundial in the world. I don't know that that's true.
Yeah, I
but
heard that.
It's a big one, all right.
I didn't even know it was there, that's really cool. We went over
30
to it.
36 foot across,
I'm sorry?
36 feet of,
Yeah,
across.
yeah. So, that time of day, I was lazy, I didn't get there at dawn, and so I got lots of cars and so forth, which would be nice not to know. But I ended up liking the picture enough, by the time we got to get it, I may actually get up early in the morning and go over there and try it again. So let's see, this is this is the second, I think, of the pictures, and this is the first one that I did anything to besides just what came out of the camera. And that's the third one.
This one just jumps out.
I guess what happened between the second one and the third is,
Look at all those clouds that are there that you can't see in the second one.
so that was the first tweaking of it, and that took about 2 minutes, not this one, but the one before. And it took about 2 minutes because I used presets, and a preset is simply do a whole bunch of things at once. I'm using Adobe Lightroom and Photoshop, and Adobe has built-in presets into it. This one actually is from a set of bird presets I got from a guy in Australia, and basically what it's doing is, not this one, but the one before, is lightening things up and increasing contrast a bit. And, the nice thing about that is, if you've got a bunch of presets on there that you can kind of scroll through, you can pretty quickly get adjustments that you like in there without having to do individual 6 or 8 things that the preset may do simultaneously. When I looked at the preset, I kind of liked it, but what I didn't like were a couple things. One, I got to liking the picture a lot more than I thought it would, because we got Moorhead Planetarium there. It's a nice picture of the university. And when I was thinking it was a nice picture of the university, then I wanted a Carolina blue sky in the background instead of all the clouds. But that's easy enough again, as with you guys. In this case, Photoshop has a remove sky button. You click that, it pops up, a choice of skies and say, give me that one instead. And it pops it in, and so, the total kind of development time on that is maybe 5 minutes between scratching my head.
Is that a mockingbird up there? On the-
Yes, it's a bird at the point of the,
Is that a mockingbird up on the tip of the?
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Mockingbird came back and forth there. I thought that was kind of fun.
It is just used to you, 'cause
Yeah, I
they're
appreciate
very
that. The other thing I guess I did on that is I wanted the bricks a little bit redder than they were. I thought, with the blue sky, a little bit more redness to the books and bricks, that would be nice. Lightroom has a nice thing where you can select a color and then just work on, I think in this case, I tried maybe a little more luminance, I didn't like that so much, but a little bit more saturation gave me kind of what I wanted.
That's good.
But, the other thing I was gonna add is between the first tweak and this one, I put it down and went away and had lunch or something, then came back to it. And I find that often is helpful. I end up with something a lot better than I started off with. Developing it, and I'll get caught up in one thing or another. On the last one before that, I got not liking the blueness of the sky because I was using polarizing filter was too blue, and so I was tweaking that back and forth to try to get a little bit milder blue. I did that, but it really didn't do very much, but I'd gotten obsessed with that, and so that's what I did, and then after I come back a couple hours later, I said, well, wait a minute. You know, this isn't really just about the sundial, this is about the university, because there's more been planetarium. How do you make it about the university? I thought, well, you know, the sky could be different, it could be Carolina blue. And it's cheating, of course, I'm glad I'm in good company to do it. And, you know, I ended up with something I was happy with,
Yep.
and good.
Good example, Stephen.
Yeah.
All right, great photos.
So what's interesting on that sundial,
Is
there's
my
another
photo-
section there that actually has
Uh-huh,
The hourglass.
the hourglass.
That's really cool.
yeah. I'm not sure because it turns over that 36-foot sundial to get it to go over the sand to run out. But
Oh, yeah, so, sometimes, it just seemed like too big to deal with, so, yeah, when Frank and I were over there, we just,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
There you go.
Alas, I remember when there was the most elegant rose garden around that, and they had to destroy it because of the rose fungus or virus or whatever, so it got hundreds of roses.
Well, I'm looking for it, Larry, and I can't find it.
You passed it,
I did?
yeah, it's past that, keep going north or south.
There it is. No?
Yeah, up one, yeah, down one. I
Oh,
go
okay,
together.
There you go.
Okay.
yeah.
Ooh,
Now, I want to download all of these and put them there. That way I can share screen. That didn't work.
didn't select.
Mm-mm. So what do I want to do here?
Did you like her photographs?
I did, and I like the story. Did you go to the?
Well, I'm,
Anything you show is
You
fine.
have to select them?
well,
Is that show still on? The one?
No.
It's gone.
It's closed. I think Sunday was the last day.
Sunday, yeah. Yeah, nice shot of Mike.
yeah, fuzzy, just like my brain.
Oh, there you are.
Oops.
Yeah, there's one that, oh, now I'm making it worse. Oh, God. We thought that in consideration of our venue, that there was one shot that we probably should not see, and that was it.
We're grown-ups, we already saw, cicadas.
Okay, here you go.
Yeah, so this is the Imogen Cunningham show that they had over at Ronaldo, which is the home of RJ Reynolds, out near Winston-Salem. And I know Timothy went to that show.
Sorry, guys, I got it. Schedule, sorry.
Timothy went to that show, and so did Lynn and Mike. And I went with my wife, and she's incredible, but I wanted to read this to you. This is a retrospective of the show that was held at the Getty Museum in Los Angeles. And it says, in a career that spanned 70 years, Imogen Cunningham created a large and diverse body of work, from portraits to nudes, to florals, and to street photographs. In a field dominated by men, she was one of a handful of women who helped to shape early modernist photography in America. this exhibit seeks to acknowledge her stature as equivalent to that of her male peers and to reevaluate her enormous contribution to twentieth century photographic history. And that was from the Getty. This, she did florals, and the reason she did florals was because she had 3 small children, and the only thing that she could shoot without leaving them with no one was the flower garden. So she shot her own flower garden. But one thing that she did, she used a 4x5 camera. She didn't use a light meter. She had the wherewithal to take these photographs without tremendous sophistication as we're doing today. And that's why this is one of the shots. I don't do it justice because I was taking a picture of a picture, you know, and it was pretty hard to do. But anyway, so that was one of the photographs that she took. There are some others.
Oops, not that one again.
Well, that's, okay. She shot nudes, and she had models that she used, but initially, in 1915, she shot her husband.
No,
nude.
photographed her husband.
No, she shot her husband, she was arrested, no. And it was kind of like a nymph-like thing in the woods, the photograph that I saw, but it was, you could hardly see the body, you know, and she published it in the Seattle Times, and there was such a great uproar about it, about nude photography appearing in the newspaper, you know, 1915.
Yeah.
That she took so much pain for doing it, that she didn't revisit her negatives until 1970. 55 years later, because I'm talking about the nude photographs. Which was just amazing to me. This is a very famous one. This was taken in 1929 at Mills College. In Mills College is in Oakland, California. It's a women's college. And these 3 dancers, this amazing shot. If you could see the shadows right underneath them, she shot this probably at high noon. She could only shoot in the daytime because she couldn't shoot early in the morning because she had the kids. And later on, she was like shooting outdoors, and she shot in full sun. And so this is a very famous photograph of her.
You know, one of the things that hit me in going through this, well, if this was an in-focus meeting, what would you say about this picture? Move, get that big brick thing behind her and get rid of some of the stuff on the outside. And it, amazing set of work. But you know, I think that some of this shows how photography has changed. What was successful then, would it be successful today? That was, I don't say that ignoring the contribution. I don't mean to demean it at all, but it was just something that hit me pretty hard.
And that's her, and she used a 4x5. You know, when she started out in photography, she went to the University of Washington, and she wanted to go into art, but they didn't have courses for photography. So she majored in chemistry, and she did that because of the developing the photograph, and she used them, and she got a master's degree in Germany, and specifically for how to use chemicals to develop photographs. Remember, this is all in the darkroom and all kinds of
Glass negatives.
Right, glass negatives. It was just incredible, and so that was her interest all along, to do that in black and white. She never shot it.
She never used the light.
Never used the
I
light.
mean, if you've ever shot with a 4x5, it's a pain in the ass. It's a pain.
And so she did street photography, and this is in Haight Ashbury.
Yeah.
That's 6 of Road. Rolleiflex.
Yeah.
She used, she used a Rolleiflex,
For her street photography.
right, a viewfinder, so you look in it and there's two, I don't know if you've used, two lenses.
Yeah, one's a viewfinder and then one's the
Right,
lens. Yeah.
Mamiya Flex, they have all kinds of them, but she used the rolling.
Yeah, with a slice lens.
Where the, and so she would go around the streets and take pictures of people.
Well, thanks for sharing all that, Larry.
Right. The exhibit was amazing, they would
Oh,
say,
it's beautiful.
40 shots, and I thought, you love the portraits.
I love the whole show, yeah. She's, you know, she was part of this.
But I did have
64
some,
group.
I did have some clocks. Mike,
Yes,
I did have clocks I sent you in an email, right there, is probably right above the email that you found.
I'll bring them back next time.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I think I got over engrossed in other things, but anyway. Next challenge is what? Does anybody remember?
Doors and windows.
Doors and windows. Okay. And I'm sorry, Larry, we'll pick up I got such a rush, but anyway. So, good meeting. See you again.
Not everything has to be sharp.